Hey guys, what's up? Jin here with the Otakuology podcast again with my amazing co-host Otaku
Hey, my name's Otaku Mike, YouTuber extraordinaire.
I thought you were about to do that. My name's Otaku Mike. This is my first time here,
First
and
time, first time caller, long time listener.
I'm here, or like I'm here for AA. What is that? Anime Anonymous.
I'm here for Anime Addicts Anonymous, which is another podcast about anime.
Oh shit. So, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Tired.
How was your week?
Well, it consisted of podcasting with you.
It did consist of podcasting a lot.
So there was that. I didn't read that much or do anything really. Uh,
Nonsense.
we,
We read that volume of Ultraman.
oh yeah, I did. But I mean, like, I haven't really read anything. Like,
Nonsense. You read some Invincipod.
yeah, but I did. But I mean, I didn't read it for fun. Like, it was for the podcast.
Hey, when I do things for the podcast, I always imagine that they're fun.
But like, I didn't read anything for like leisure, I guess you could say. But I did
Well,
start
well, let's just be honest. I know what your leisure time consists of. Okay.
getting on TikTok and taking shits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Or well,
usually when I either get the text message, "Hey, I got an idea for a podcast," or I get the "Hey, I'm sending you this TikTok video. You should watch." It's real bad.
yeah. I mean, I kind of worked on my Gundam a little bit. My Wing Zero Gundam.
How's that
Not
going?
it's good. I just built the arms and the shoulders, so I got that done.
Awesome.
It took me a while to get the arms and shoulders built. Not gonna lie, because I was like trying to figure it out, and there's like a weird like mechanic to where like they have like these the gauntlets on the arms
Yeah.
like slide up, and like you can hook the guns into the arms so they were like more stable. And I was just trying to figure it out, and panel lining and stuff like that. And
Right.
I don't know if I like the I don't know if I like the panel lining on it. I might just wipe off the panel lining. I don't know.
Or
Or might I,
you could always try some paint.
I could too, yeah, but I gotta get some top coat for it then. I'd go
Yeah.
buy some top coat, some paint actually. Yeah. I've been okay, just really haven't been doing anything. I got caught up on Loki.
Besides podcasting.
Besides podcasting, I got caught up on Loki last night.
Yeah.
I watched like 3 episodes. Pretty
Oh
good.
my god. I gotta send you this thing on Instagram.
Uh huh.
So what's the guy that does Loki? What's the actor's name?
Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah. So supposedly he's been doing ASMRs of like random shit.
Oh yeah.
And he has one that's like sexual,
Uh, uh
and he's like aggressively like says, "I'm gonna push you up against the wall," and then like starts saying things,
yeah.
and it kind of sounds like a smut book, but it's
Oh.
it's a minute long, and this person cut it out, and one of the people popped up, and I was like, "This can't be Tom Hiddleston. This cannot be Tom Hiddleston doing
Yeah.
this fucking ASMR. It
Yeah.
cannot be." And like, sure enough, I clicked on it and it sent me to like his channel or whatever, his
Uh huh.
TikTok or whatever it is. And he does them. He does these weird ass
Oh yeah.
ASMR.
That's
Yeah,
weird.
like talking about weird stuff or like whatever. It's all off the
Oh
wall, random stuff. I think
yeah.
there's one of him talking about food, and
Oh
I was just like, "This is weird. I don't know
yeah.
if
I also
I
I
like
also
this."
filmed a comic haul for my channel.
That's good.
Shameless plug. Otaku Mike. Go check it out. My
Shameless plug.
channel. I need to get those watch hours so I can get monetized. What?
That's true. This is very true.
Yeah, I don't know. That's all I really done. Trying to figure out what manga I'm gonna buy this month or next month. You know,
It's true too.
or if I'm gonna buy any manga, maybe I just might buy some comic books. Who
Also
knows?
true.
Yeah. So I'm almost done buying Invincible. I just need 3 more books and I'm done with it.
How much more do you have to read though?
Oh, have read I have read the first 3 collected editions, the first Ultimate Collection editions.
Yeah.
There are 12.
So you're about a fourth of the way through.
Yeah.
Goodness.
And then I have to reread them for the podcast. So that's why it takes me so long to put out the podcasts. Like I'm reading it for fun on my downtime, and then I have to reread it again for the podcast.
You know the little sticky like arrow things you can get. You might have to
Uh-huh.
start like throwing those on there while you're reading.
Yeah.
I can't take notes when I'm reading something because it takes it away. I always have to do the second time and then I take notes on it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I've already watched it before, then I watched it at that time for enjoyment, and then I can do the notes or whatever, like when I do my shows.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what if there's a new show that I start watching and I want to do it, like
Yeah.
so like I've been watching. There's this new dog one that's on Hulu. Uh, that's got the Phoebe as one of the voice actors from Friends,
Yeah. I don't know what that's
and it's all
called, but
about animals.
yeah.
Something House, I think, is what it's called. And
Uh-huh.
then there's another one that I've fallen in love with a couple times
Uh-huh.
watching it, which is Duncanville.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got caught up on it, and I didn't know that they had put out like 3 more episodes. I was like, oh
Mm-hmm.
shit, I gotta watch this. So I'm watching that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
in mode of like, should I be taking notes? And I'm like, no, 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 I'm watching this for pleasure right now. I'm not taking notes on this crap.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of
So
reorganized my manga collection a little bit.
yeah,
I'm thinking about getting rid of some things here and there.
yeah.
I'm not for sure exactly what I'm going to get rid of.
Well, if there's some good stuff that I don't have and you want to send it to me,
Oh, Lion already has dibs on them.
I don't care about Lion.
Lion said he'll pay me for them.
Hey, Lion's not in our bromance, so
But Lion said he'll pay me for anything that I don't want.
maybe. I don't know. It depends on what you got.
That's he offered, you know.
Well, there's one thing that I'm always going to have dibs on with that, which is your not lies, but that'll be like in your will whenever you pass away. Give this to Jen Grays if he's not already.
You can have it for $200 because that's the going rate right now.
I'll just wait till you die.
On eBay, that's what it's going for.
I know, and you sent me that the other day, and I was so upset about it because I was like, "Oh, I want this, but I don't have money for this. Damn
You
it!"
could probably piecemeal it together and find, like on Amazon, find some on Amazon or some other websites.
Yeah,
You probably don't have to buy it for 200. But anyways,
good.
do you want to get into our topic at hand?
Yeah. So, people that are out there on the internets and whatnot, avid
Uh,
listeners of
on the
Otakuology,
internet, yeah.
yeah, avid listeners of Otakuology podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So today's topic, we're going to talk about pirating.
You want to speak up?
We're going to talk about pirating.
You want to speak up?
Yeah, we're going to talk about
You
pirating.
want to say it a little louder?
We're so we're going to talk about pirating,
Uh-huh.
which I know is a very touchy subject for a lot of people out there. Uh, Also, this guy right here, uh,
Arr me mateys! Shiver
online
me
with me,
timbers!
is also this is one of his trigger subjects. So
Most definitely it is.
it's one of your big trigger subjects. That's
Oh,
why
it
I was
most
whispering
definitely is my trigger
it.
subjects. I'm not gonna
so
lie.
so out of God, I feel like we've talked about the subject maybe.
Oh my! It comes up like once or twice every fucking year.
I think it's been more than that. I think we've probably talked about this subject maybe 15 times on air recordings and probably about 100 just in general.
Yeah, it goes around YouTube or the
Um,
manga tube.
I mean everything though.
Yeah.
everything. So we're gonna roll this into a bundle too, though, with pirating, scalping, and stealing and stuff like that.
I remember like what was it last year? It went off and it went and kind of blew up with the conversation because people were trying to like have like gray areas with pirating and
Yeah, I mean
yeah.
there was different stuff. People were trying to say that it was okay and all this other stuff, and then things happen
So I
here and
mean,
there on different places, and
let's honestly let's get into this. So are we
okay.
just talking about like
Well,
manga piracy?
yeah.
Okay.
So, well, let me throw this disclaimer out there first. Mike will get rambunctious. Uh, but the other thing is no matter what you think it is under the code of and everything of what piracy is, technically piracy is stealing no matter what. If somebody's not making a buck off of it from the original creator or whatever, or anybody
Mm-hmm.
that helped with it, if it's done through another source, then yes, no matter what, it is piracy. It is wrong, even if you do it. I'm sure all of us have done it at one point in our lives or not with something or been a
Mm-hmm.
part of it. But at some point, you do have to accept the fact that, yes, that is something wrong of you to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
throwing that out there because I, I'm glad that I just stole part of the thunder and the lightning of what Mike would cuss at y'all about. Um, let's go forward.
Okay. Shit. Uh Piracy is wrong. You shouldn't do it. End of podcast.
In smallest podcast ever. Yeah, we just made it a little over 10 minutes.
I don't I don't know where to start with this. Um so
Uh, I so where I would like to start with it is honestly I would like to start of it because of me seeing it recently
uh
is the blatant piracy in front of people's faces at the store.
what do you mean?
Like whenever you're sitting there and you see somebody in the manga aisle basically like with a stack of manga
Uh
and they're sitting there reading through all of it
you
because
know what people in the industry call that?
I forgot. That's why I didn't say it.
Specifically in the comic industry,
What?
a lot of comic shops call that burn stealing,
Yeah.
where they'll read an issue and put it back on the shelves and won't buy it.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of comic places won't let you read just off the rack, you know,
Right.
because they want you to buy their product to,
Right.
so they can make money. But yeah, no, I totally get it. Like, that is so one of my pet peeves when I go to like a Barnes and Noble or Books a Million or Half Price Books.
You should you should tell us the story and your thoughts and feelings about the oh, I think it was a volume of Monster Musume that you wanted. And the kid was sitting there reading it and it was
Uh,
the only one. Like you're
oh,
like,
okay. So I went on my lunch break to Barnes and Noble because I wanted to go pick up like a volume of manga or some manga because that's what I would do sometimes. I don't do it much anymore because it honestly takes a lot of time out of my lunch. I have to like drive across halfway across town to go.
right.
It takes up some time. But so I was there, and I'm guessing the kid was in college, maybe. I don't know.
I,
Long hair,
I mean that does make sense because you are in a college
yeah,
town.
long hair, kind of disheveled a little bit. Has glasses, and
So he kind of looks like Jin with wearing glasses.
he
Okay.
was he was skinny. Um,
Oh,
he
okay.
was
Well, Jin doesn't miss a meal usually. So
he was kind of like I don't want to say like a typical otaku, but like he was kind of you know.
you know the weird thing. I get the image of the guy from Otaku in 10,000 BC when you're naming this guy off.
Oh, and so he's sitting there, and I'm like talking to myself, like, oh, like I'm kind of like eyeballing it off to the side, kind of casually looking at stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm like, he's fucking got Monster Musume right there. Oh, yeah, he does. Oh, I don't have that volume right there. Oh, that's the new volume. And I started talking to him about it. I was like, hey, man, how's it going? It's like, oh, you like that book right there? Mars Musume? He's like, yeah, I love it. It's a really good series, this and that. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, I've been buying that. I was like, I've been buying that and stuff like that. And it's like, is that the new one? He's like, yeah, that's the new one. He's like, yeah, normally like I read these things online. Like, oh, okay, okay, that's cool. That's not my cup of tea or whatever. And I was like, hey, can I look at that? Like, can I just look at it for a second? And this is probably like, I don't know, maybe one of like the dickish things I've ever done. Like, it was pretty dickish. Like, where I grabbed it, I was like, thanks, and I walked off with it. I walked off with it and bought it.
Right?
Yeah. And he was like, excuse me, I was reading that, and I was like, I'm buying it.
Right?
Yeah, he didn't
Right?
like that. He didn't like that very much.
Right? I think that's one of my favorite pirating stories, or somewhat pirating stories that you've told me.
Yeah,
Just because that's golden.
yeah,
Having that whole, oh hey, I'm buying this. Okay,
yeah. Buying
I
it.
got I gotta
Bye.
walk off.
Yeah, bye. Oh, I can't hear you.
Yeah. What? You're too
What?
far away. You're too
Yeah.
far away. I can't hear you. What are you
Shh,
saying?
shh. You're breaking up. Shh, shh, shh.
What? Yeah. I'm on the other side of the store. All right. What are you saying? Um. Shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's always so funny hearing some of the stories that you tell me about that.
yeah.
But like you said,
Sorry about that. My dog ripped up a roll of toilet paper, and my wife called me, and I had to go sweep it up. So if you heard an alarm in the background, that's what that was.
yeah,
Yeah. Anyways, what were we talking about exactly? Because I don't remember.
we were talking about you asking a kid for some manga
He wasn't a kid. He was like a teenager.
and running off to buy it.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's one thing I hate is people sitting there reading manga and not wanting to fucking buy it. I understand. It's easy to go and read manga at the store, but that's not what a store wants you to do necessarily. They want you to buy said product. It's one thing to like flip through it and look through the manga, but it's another thing to sit there and just read all of it and put it back on the fucking shelf.
Right,
It's not socially acceptable to do, even though in our weird otaku nerd brains, people do it anyways. And
right,
they think it's okay to do. Now, I don't want to sit here and like be preachy about this shit. Because everybody has done something like that before. Reading, watching fan subs, stuff like that. I mean, hell, our anime industry is kind of solely grew out of fan subbing. You know, a lot
right,
of the people who fan subbed anime and got anime are people who ran ADV, Sentai Filmworks, Funimation, stuff like that. Their love of anime caused them to
Crunchyroll.
want to release it over here. You
Right,
know, because honestly, like that shit, we would maybe get some anime on TV occasionally. But
right,
to actually get it on VHS tape or DVD or Blu-ray, that took some years for us to get. It wasn't overnight.
right.
Um. Anyways, we'll see. Uh, how do you feel about burn stealing?
Oh man, I loathe it. I
Yeah,
loathe it a lot. Yeah,
I don't know. I
because
like. Oh, go. Sorry.
I mean, and mine sits more so from a different aspect. Like if you were
Mm-hmm.
just gonna sit there, like I'll flip through it, all this other stuff, and then figure out if I want to buy it. I'd be fine if you sat there and maybe read it at the store and you were
Mm-hmm.
still gonna buy it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the one big thing that killed the shit out of me one time and I'll remember it all time for the rest of my life, was the fact of there was this girl that got and had a stack of manga, and I'm pretty sure she was reading like a volume of Inuyasha or something.
Mm-hmm.
And she had gotten this kind of cake stuff or whatever at the BAM or Books a Million
Mm-hmm.
cafe. So she had that in her coffee and everything.
Yeah.
And while she was reading this, you could see her take a bite or whatever, but the edge of the book was stuck in the cake.
Okay.
And then you'd see her kind of pick it up and flip the page, and then
Mm-hmm.
she'd like put it back down in her hand just like where it was.
Yeah.
I don't know if she was dumb or what, but you could see frosting stuck on different parts of this book already.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, if you didn't buy that and it's not your book, and the next person's gonna you've
Yeah.
already ruined it.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I get you.
So reading it at the store, especially any store that has a cafe or whatever, and things like that, is honestly just blatant stealing to
Mm-hmm.
me.
Like even like the store, the people who run like Barnes and Noble or whatever, they're not going to outright tell you, "Hey, don't read it," you know. But like they hate it when people do that
Right.
because a lot of times, like they'll people will take big stacks of manga and not just sit at the shelves, which will make people have to go around those people to look and stuff, you know, because they sit right in the aisles,
Right.
which is not cool for somebody like me who wants to look at manga or comics or something like that, you know.
Right.
But I've seen it where people will take big stacks of manga, read them all like 10 hours or something like that. You'll stay at the store the whole time, maybe buy some food or some a drink or something like that, coffee at Starbucks, you know, and then like they'll just leave the stack of manga,
Right.
not put it back whatsoever. And
Or or there'll be chairs sitting over at this
yeah,
location. That's a totally
they
different area, and there's a
they
stack of
call
manga.
them their manga friends. Like they have like a code word for them.
Yeah.
Like the big is the manga friend is here, you know. Like
Right.
they know who you are. They
Which
know
you
you're
usually
one.
come a lot of the time.
Yeah, they know who you are, and they don't fucking like you.
Right.
You know, type of shit. You know.
They might not tell you, but they
Yeah,
don't like you. Okay.
yeah, yeah, and like you know, there's the whole thing before like try before you buy type of thing. You know, which
Well, this is going to be my one thing on this that I think everybody should fucking know,
mm-hmm,
because when you grow up, it's kind of a rite of passage, even though a lot of people don't accept it that way anymore.
mm-hmm.
But get yourself a fucking library card, okay?
Oh yes, most
Bar-
definitely.
Barnes and Noble and Books a Million and stuff aren't there for you to have a library and go in and read whatever it is or
What's
whatever. That's a place of business.
what's that? What's the because Barnes? Yeah, it's business, but libraries have manga.
They
And if
do.
they don't have it there. It's usually there's an app of some kind. I can't remember what the app is called off the top of my head.
Well, I mean, not even that. Like, you also have ones there that, uh, I mean, you could go and read it at the library, or sometimes the library has
Well,
cells where they'll sell
yeah, they'll,
access.
yeah, so they'll sell the manga to you,
Yeah,
but there's a specific app. I don't remember what it's called. Matt told me about it, where you can, if you have a library card, you can read manga or comics on there. You know,
yeah,
it's like a big digital library of books.
yeah,
I can't remember what it's called. I'll have to ask him what it's called.
yeah.
But he does that for comics, you know,
Right,
and you know they're free. Like the library buys them for people to read.
right,
You know, it's a service that you know your city will offer.
right,
Um, but there's that, you know, and the whole try before you buy thing. A lot of people will be like, oh, well, I gotta read like the first couple. I gotta read the first volume scanlated before I know if I want to truly buy it. You can go out and buy manga, and I get it. Money's tight. Money is tight, you know, and not everybody is gonna have a job or be able to have extra money to pay for manga
right.
or whatever, you know. And this is where I say manga is not a necessity. You don't need manga to live.
Hey, this would be where I say, did you buy an anime statue or an
Yeah,
android or
yeah,
something
yeah,
else, but you didn't
yeah.
buy the manga that you read?
And also, we have there are digital libraries you can use. Comixology, Amazon does it digitally as well.
Right.
Shonen Jump app has it. It's
You
two
can
ninety nine a
you can
month.
read some on the Nook.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
you
like
can
that,
read it on an
like
iPad.
like the Shonen Jump does. Even though it took so long for them to catch up with the whole piracy thing,
Right.
the Shonen Jump does work really well.
Right. And most of those distributors and everything, you'll be able to go on and at least read like the first three chapters or
Yeah,
so of most manga coming out because they want you to invest
yeah.
into it.
And so there's no reason to go scan late manga, the read scans. And plus, when you read scans, a lot of them are poorly translated or just stolen from the official source,
Right.
you know. And let's just get this out of the way. Um, you know, like your the people who scan late manga over in Japan, you know, they're not doing it because they're super fans of the manga. They're
That's true.
doing it because one over there they go buy the magazine. They don't buy the tankobon or whatever. They buy the magazine each week or month, whatever. Whenever a manga comes out, they buy all these magazines that the mangas come in, and they'll throw them in the fucking microwave, heat them up, scan them in, and then they will take the scans and they don't give them to scan later sites. They sell them to scan later sites
Right.
to make money. So they're not doing it out of the kindness of their heart
Right.
whatsoever, you know.
Right.
And that's where I feel like people don't understand this. Now,
Well,
even
I mean, like you said though, people doing that, like they're probably going, and we're talking about Japan here,
yeah,
and you can buy a magazine
for a couple bucks.
for a few dollars,
Yeah,
right?
manga is very cheap over there,
I
not like
mean,
over here.
an actual taco is probably going to cost you, depending on what it is, $4 to $7, which
Yeah,
is
no,
your almost your regular Shonen Jump price over
yeah,
here.
yeah.
But you have to think about it
The magazines are a lot cheaper.
in terms of that. They can turn around and sell that, probably sell it for $10 to $20 a chapter or whatever,
Yeah,
and get that,
yeah.
and you may get to read that and everything, but the fact is when you read it and the support system over here for it isn't that high, even if
We're
you
not
don't.
gonna get it over here.
Well, I supported it because I read it all along. Well, what did you do? You read a scan. You didn't
Yeah,
put money towards it. You didn't do anything else. And a lot of times there are some based off of their popularity, even though we do like certain kinds of manga and whatnot, that will never be translated for that reason,
mm-hmm.
or will not come over here for that reason,
Yeah,
or for the simple fact of nobody thinks that it's popular.
yeah,
The things that we have over here already, the popularity for them and everything is probably double what it should be.
yeah,
So if you sit there and think about, well, if everything was as popular as everything else would have been currently, and that those ones should be double, but the reason why is because somebody scanned them and read them, and there's not a link saying this is the best because of XYZ,
yeah,
then you have to know, like, that's a reason why we don't get more things that
yeah,
we would like over here.
yeah. No, most definitely. And the real is the real the reality of this is everything is not going to get scanned over here. It's not. And when I'm talking about in English, we're not going to get it. It's just reality. We're not going to be able to read every manga. And that's something that we as fans have to um
Yeah,
we have to just live with the fact that we're not going to get certain mangas over here. Now it's up to you on whether or not you want to scan something, read a scan or not. But you have to think about it. who are you hurting when you read those scans? One, you're hurting the people who potentially want it to get it over here,
right?
and
You're
potential,
hurting them, I would say, on a mental emotional level.
yeah, but you're hurting the publisher, the creator, on a financial level.
The
Now,
artist,
sorry,
you're hurting the artist. You're
yeah,
hurting
yeah,
everybody that goes through the entire system. The inkers. You're hurting
yeah,
the person that stamps the manga onto the paper.
the
I mean,
publishing it,
anybody that has a role into it, the truck drivers, everybody,
yeah,
you're hurting them, and you might think, oh, well, they're getting this, but the thing is you're actually taking things away from
yeah,
them.
because you also think about it, each magazine that's sold, each manga that's sold, you know, uh, depending on how popular it is where we'll get it in the world, because there are other manga publishers in the world.
Right,
We have ours here, and then sometimes they'll get translated overseas, depending on what they are. There's manga overseas that we don't get,
right,
or they'll get different adaptations or different printings, better quality printing sometimes, and you have to think about it like it's it's very hard to actually get a manga published sometimes
it's true.
because there's so much competition out there, and it's their life's work to have a somewhat popular manga or even have like a phenomenon. It's not something that they want people to read their works. They do.
Right,
Like, manga creators love it when people read their works, but they want them to buy their work as well. You know,
right,
that's just the fact of life. They put their sweat, tears, their blood into this manga, even their health uh, declining sometimes with the whole um, work conditions that they have to do. And they have to keep up with that. And you know, uh, they're not going to say steal my fucking manga. No, they're going to want you to buy it so you can support them, support their families.
right.
So
I
they can.
I I really like this thing. It was kind of a memed TikTok that I saw the other day,
Mm-hmm,
and I really liked it based off of this part where they had somebody this kid messaged this guy, said, hey, basically I'm underprivileged, I can't afford their paraphernalia or whatever it was, and it
mm-hmm,
was just a shirt with their brand on it.
yeah,
I think it said simple with a period at the end.
yeah,
And so the kid had basically made their own shirt and bought it
yeah.
because wherever it was they were
I
able
saw
to do
that
that.
one.
Yeah. And so this guy actually flies to it. The kid has a basketball game that he's doing. He
Uh,
watches the basketball game or whatever, and you think he's going to sit there and turn around and give this kid maybe like a shirt or something from his brand, and he
yeah,
hits him with a lawsuit,
yeah. He hit them with a lawsuit.
class action lawsuit on, hey, you've done stuff with this. That's actually my brand that I have a patent on and all this other stuff, and you're using it to get a profit off of it.
Yeah,
So that's another thing that I feel like a lot of us need to think about is when you use stuff where that could be a thing that could be something that happens,
yeah,
then you might need a second guess on actually trying to do that.
yeah. Because a lot of the authorities in Japan are cracking down hard on scanlators. Like, they are taking them down because
Right,
it's such a huge thing in Japan. Because it makes them money. It makes the scanlators make money off of this. It's an easy way to make money,
right,
whether it's advertising, selling chapters, whatever. But I mean, I'm gonna shout him out, even though I kind of he's not my favorite person ever. Uchu Shelf on YouTube. Um, he's for fighting manga piracy. He made a whole website dedicated to where you can legally read manga. You know, it's that easy to go figure out how to read manga. It's
right,
not it's not hard to figure out. But I mean, this really comes down to what you want to do. Because we've all pirated before, it's we've all done it in our lives. And you just have to really sit and think, before you decide to steal something, like what it will affect. Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's a victimless crime." No, it's not a victimless crime, regardless of what it is. Stealing music, movies, it's not art. You know,
right?
yeah. Like,
And
what if, like, say we had like, I think I've seen this before. It was a YouTube creator. I think it was Mother's Basement. I think it was, where he would put out reviews and stuff like that, and somebody would take his scripts
yeah,
and translate them into like Spanish, I think, and re-record videos
right,
using his scripts. They were
right,
stealing his content. You know,
right.
and
Oh no, I
he
mean,
tried to go after them for it.
I've seen that too.
Yeah.
Or like they'll still like your your script on like your video or
Hmm.
whatever. It'll be
Yeah.
basically the exact same thing to a
Yeah.
T.
Yeah.
Things like that. You know, and things like that are pirating too. And you can't necessarily argue against it when it's word for word.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's plagiarism.
you have to look at the line of where the plagiarism is and where it's not. Were you inspired by that?
Yeah.
And did you write your own or
Yeah.
something like that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, when it comes down to this, like you could create your own art. That's why
Hmm.
I see a lot of artists and stuff. They don't take a picture of like Rock Lee from Naruto and use it. They'll use their own that they've
Yeah.
drawn with their own renditions and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that kind of brings us into another talk, which I think you and I have talked about it before. But if somebody takes a person's art and then throws a piece of paper over it and traces it and does everything else, and it comes out, is that technically pirating?
Um, I would say technically, yeah, it's stealing. You want to pass it off as your own art? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the same.
Yeah.
Even though you pinned it yourself from another one.
Unless you change it up drastically,
Yeah,
then I would say
like
it's
a
the same
color,
thing.
like a coloring sheet.
Yeah, it's the same thing. If you
Yeah,
change it up so drastically, and you change stuff to it, it's different. Then I would say yes.
right.
But even like the IPs for characters, like a lot of, I know a lot of Funimation. The lawyer for Funimation will go around conventions and be like, "You can't sell that. You can't sell that. You can't sell that. You can't sell that."
Right,
Because those are characters that they license, that they physically own at the moment.
right,
You're not allowed to sell those products because those
right,
are not licensed by, those are not officially licensed.
right,
It's like a weird area. And there's the whole thing about, they say it's a gray area, but can we just talk about self publishing manga
sure.
and how that's not a gray area? You're literally taking the scans, the cover of the books, stuff like that, and you're paying for it to be published, and you, for yourself, that you want it, but it's
Yeah.
technically still the same thing. There's no fucking gray area behind it, you know?
Are we talking about if you buy somebody's shooting off fireworks? If y'all can hear that in the background. Um, are you talking about like if somebody buys the scanalations or whatever for it and then has
Yes.
a self print just for themselves?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's still technically pirating, you know?
I didn't know if you were saying that they get those and then they sell it
I mean,
themselves.
they could probably sell it. I don't know if those self-publishing groups do that, if they sell the product as well.
Yeah,
But yeah, you know, pirating's everywhere.
that's true.
I can't go on eBay without typing something in, and I'll get like
Yeah,
bootleg DVDs.
which which I don't know if like the self publishing thing I would put. I mean, I would still put a lot of stock to it. I don't know if I would put it if there was a price tag still associated with somewhere. You
Well,
know,
there's a price tag
like if
associated with it, but like
like if
you're still
like
using.
like with Faku, like technically, if I wanted Faku, I would have to pay for those chapters and whatnot. So
Yes,
technically,
but
I own the chapter.
this isn't like by legal means. There's no legal company behind it.
Right. You're
You're
just
basically
saying I ripped these off the internet. Make me a
and
book.
yeah, make me a book basically.
Yeah. Not
That's this one.
I bought these. There's not technically a pre-existing book. I want a book just for myself to put in my collection,
Yeah,
and it's probably never going to see the light of day from with anybody else.
and it's probably never gonna see the light of day for anybody else. But like, I wouldn't put it past that. There are multiple copies out there floating around
That's
because
true.
there's self publishing groups that do that.
That's true.
Yeah, we've known some people who have self published manga and put it in their collection.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
And then turned around and tried to sell it
yeah,
as a whole
yeah.
because
So yeah,
i.e. it was supposedly never finished.
yeah. So
Which which I really think that it would be funny too, and you can tell the story about the guy that basically started his own company just to bring something he wanted over here.
oh yeah, I don't remember what it was. I don't. It was some obscure like anime film,
Yeah,
and they were like, "Oh, that's never going to be brought over here." And he started. I think it was like Red Star Media was the company.
yeah,
I think this is a long time ago since I've heard this story or talked about it. And he financed it himself. He bought the license to the movie, and I think he ended up publishing it.
yeah.
It was like a one person publishing thing, so it was really weird. Like, I because he just wanted that people to see it. I don't know how much of it got published or what, but it was like his life story or his life's mission to get this one anime film published over here
Right.
in English. You know,
And then when it did, he turned around. He dissolved his company
I think that's what it was.
because he got what he wanted. You know, but
Yeah.
it was all through legal means.
Yeah, it's yeah, if you go through legal means, you have the fucking dollars to do it,
Right.
buy the license. It's expensive. It's expensive as hell, you know?
Right.
But, it's like same with anime. You have to buy an anime publisher or anime studio that publishes anime over here has to buy each individual anime episode.
Right.
And we're talking thousands upon thousands of dollars for each episode.
Right.
Depending on what it is, each one is usually a different amount, you know. And
Probably based off of the popularity.
yeah, I think with anime piracy, I feel like it has gone down now from what it used to be. I know there's still anime pirates out there.
Yeah.
But since Crunchyroll has come around and the
Which,
whole
pointing it out, Crunchyroll at one point wasn't a pirater.
that's true. Crunchyroll at one point was a pirate and was a streaming site. But they went legit and they have done so much work for the industry. One of the main places to go to watch anime is Crunchyroll, and they have the other ones like Funimation, uh, Sentai Filmworks. They have their High Dive.
Right.
Retro Crush now. You can watch anime, so there's not really a reason to pirate anime. I guess the only reason I would say is possibly if there was some really, really fucking obscure thing.
Right.
But that's like a maybe, if it was
Yeah.
even finished or even fan subbed to begin with. Because sometimes anime doesn't get fan subbed, or if it's fan subbed by like one person.
Right.
So, it's hard to say, But I mean, it's so easy to get a hold of anime nowadays, not like it was before. Like, and there's no reason to really pirate at all. You know,
Right.
hell, even YouTube has anime on it that's officially licensed. They also have unofficially licensed stuff on YouTube as well. So
That's true too.
yeah,
That
but
is
I mean,
very true.
I can talk till I'm fucking like blue in the face, about this shit, and people are gonna do what they want to do, you know.
This is true.
There's nothing saying that maybe I might change them, but change somebody's mind, But I mean, just with this day and age, people just want everything so fast,
Right.
and right then, right now type of situation. They don't want to
Which,
wait.
is another problem that I have is like there's so much older manga and stuff that people are like, oh, I'd like to read that or whatever, or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm reading slash watching or whatever, like 20 different kinds of anime or whatever right now,
Yeah,
and it's kind of like, well, if you're doing that, then why do you even need to do it anyway? Like,
yeah,
the new episode will come out next week or a few days from then. It's not like you have
yeah,
to sit there and try and pirate it because hey, didn't you just start the new season of da 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 and it has all 13 or 26 episodes that came out and you can't watch
yeah,
that because you have to watch this one that's not even out yet.
yeah. With a lot of the younger anime fans, it's so weird how they're misinformed by things,
Yeah,
and the cycle kind of just continues. It's like a never-ending cycle, and like I remember, because there are a lot of people who like read scans at my work, and like
yeah,
I'm one of the outliers who doesn't. I'm somebody who brings manga to work, but I have that knowledge of like where I'm gonna get my manga and stuff like that. And
right.
some people are like, oh, I remember one guy, he was like, oh, I don't want to read read it physically because I was buying Love Hina physically, and then it ended up getting canceled. And I was like, I don't think Love Hina got canceled. I think it finished.
Yeah, Love Hina has 4 omnibus volumes.
I was like, it finished. And he's like, no, it didn't finish. It didn't finish. So that's why I don't read physical manga. And I was like, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah,
Like, I fucking and for the sword for you to die on is fucking Love Hina.
this
Like,
is true
come
too.
on,
This
shit,
is true too.
shit. And like he was like he didn't even know at the time that what he was doing was wrong, like was illegal. And I had to tell him like, yeah, this is illegal, it's not right.
Right.
But he still does it regardless. He still comes in talking about the next One Piece chapter or whatever. And like, oh look, I've got the One Piece, I got the not One Piece app, the Shonen app, $2.99 a month.
Right.
Get a good quality chapter, and read it each week or whatever. And he's like, no,
Right. Man,
no.
I would totally love to see somebody like put out a One Piece chapter and write it and it'd be something totally different than the actual chapter when it came
And
out. The
because
official translation.
I remember like hearing about translations because I used to listen to the One Piece podcasts.
Yeah.
They're all about One Piece, and they would talk about like the scanlations and like the translations. So like this one I remember specifically is Sanji. They was called Sun Kiss, like the drink.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was not Sanji. It was Sun Kiss. Then there were other ones I can't remember exactly what they were. But
Yeah.
and I was sitting next to somebody because somebody came down to work next to me.
I
They had
think
to,
I think I saw one with Usopp because there's a point
uh-huh.
where he puts on a mask and he goes by the Soga King,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure I saw somebody put it as Soba
Oh,
King,
okay.
which is the Japanese cold noodles.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm very confused on this.
Yeah. And like I remember I think I was reading My Hero at the time, and I was kind of talking about it with this guy. I think he was in college. He was probably in college. There are a lot of college kids work at my building. And he was like, I was taking stuff out of my bag and I put the manga on the table. And he was like, oh, is that My Hero whatever? And he's like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah, here, you want to look at it? He was like, I've never actually held a volume of manga in my hands.
Which is sad.
And that baffles me. And he opened up, he's like, man, the printing is good on this. I was like, yeah, it is. He's like, where do you buy these? And I'm like, you go to Barnes and Noble.
Right?
you go to Amazon. You go to writestuff.com. He's
Shout
like,
out to Right Stuff.
he was like, oh, okay. He's like, I just read online. I was like, yeah, don't read online. Those are bad scans.
Right.
It's like people have to be taught this, like where to go to find this shit. Because when
Right.
you say like My Hero Academia read online, the first thing that's probably going to pop up is a scan later site,
Right.
or the Viz site. I don't know which one will pop up, who
Or
knows,
pictures.
or pictures, or
Yeah,
I even see people put the scans of chapters in a YouTube video.
that's true.
Yeah, I've seen that happen before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it all just, I mean, it all gets kind of weird, like,
yeah.
in general. I mean, I agree with you. I feel like there are a lot, and I think that scanning is something you should do and get out of the way when you're young, unless you can avoid it altogether.
Hmm.
Because, like we said, you can't afford it. But by the time you have a good job or whatever and all this other stuff, like, you should start buying it.
If you can afford it, or just buy it digitally
Right,
because it's going to support, and there more manga is going to come out.
right.
Like I've never read a scan ever, but I've downloaded fan subs.
Yeah.
I've made my
See,
own. I've made my own
I
DVDs.
I read them once upon a time, but
Yeah.
I didn't read that much because, like you said, there were always problems with it, or like, I mean, you just can't pass up the feel of a book and everything. Honestly,
Yeah.
like
No,
I
like
I
with
wouldn't want to read online.
like with this day and age, everything's going digital.
Right,
You're still gonna have those paperbacks. Digital is an option. I
right,
mean, it is. And it's not doesn't cost that much for a digital manga.
right,
It doesn't. It's a couple bucks. Maybe like half the volume of a Tankubon.
right. And I mean, it's always going to be a lot better quality, honestly,
Yeah.
having something physical or whatever. And it's, you know, one of the guys that my mom dated or whatever would get movies
Hmm.
that were basically pirated, and I
Yeah.
hated watching them
Yeah.
because I was always like, why is there a person's shadow in the bottom of the movie? And then
Hmm.
somebody told me, oh well, you know that somebody had a recorder in the thing. I was like, why would you do
Yeah.
that?
Like
Like,
I remember um you were around, I think. Remember when I got those like Blu-rays?
the ones from the eBay site?
Yeah, the ones from the eBay site.
Yeah,
And I got these Blu-rays in, and I was supposed to like review them on my channel,
yeah.
and I never did. But this guy was like
The ones
producing.
for, was it for Macross? I think maybe.
No, it was for Gunbuster and Diebuster, and then
Yeah,
Now and Then Here and There
yeah,
was what they were. And this guy was charging like a lot of money for like these Blu-rays. And if you look at the Blu-ray, just like glancing at it, if you just glance at it and you don't know what you're looking at, they look somewhat official.
right.
Like the artwork on the front covers are pretty good. Uh, when I opened it up, there was like a little piece of cardboard wedged in between the
Yeah,
DVD or the Blu-ray and the case to keep it from not moving around. And I could just smell like the glue and the adhesive on like the Blu-ray disc itself,
yeah,
where they like put like a label on the disc, and like the label looks somewhat decent, like it looks okay, but you can tell it was like a printed label, and somebody slapped it on there.
yeah.
And I could probably post pictures of them on the website or on the
Well,
Instagram.
I mean, not only that, the one thing that you said before when you went to that little anime store in your town,
Uh huh.
and you sent me a picture of the back of it, and it was like somebody had combined to make this new version of Goku where it was like half Super Saiyan God,
Oh yeah.
half Kaioken, where he had red hair and then he had blue hair, and it was on the same
Yeah.
thing. I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah. And I had to tell my anime store, and I was like, guys, don't don't put these out.
And they pulled it all off the
They
shelf.
pulled it off the shelves. You know, they ate their money. I wish I could have taken them off their hands, kind of, but
Right.
it's not the
We're
case.
gonna do a give. We're gonna do a giveaway.
They had like a distributor of some kind that wasn't like legit, and they
Yeah,
they pulled everything off their shelves
and that's what they advertise themselves as
as
being
as being
legit.
100% legit. Yeah,
So
but like it was like I did a video about it a long time ago about bootleg and how to spot them and stuff like that. There are times where it's really hard to spot a bootleg,
right.
and like this, you could just smell like the glue off of this. Like, oh, it was bad. Like
Yeah.
it was like if I ever when I ever open those cases, like it smells. Like
Yeah.
it smells horrendous. And you flip it over and it's like a burned Blu-ray disc. So you can see where like it was burned. It wasn't properly pressed
Right.
for the Blu-ray, so it's gonna deteriorate over time. If I ever use them, I think I put one of them in my PlayStation one time, and
Yeah.
I mean the quality is good. The quality for the Blu-ray is pretty good, but it's not legit. Luckily, I didn't pay any money for them.
That's true.
I did not pay any money because he wanted like 60, $70 a set. Sometimes even more than that.
Right.
Like $200 for like the entire series. Look, I mean, um, like he asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was like, okay, sure. I didn't, you know, and luckily I didn't have to like use money or whatever,
Right.
and I was out of money. I ended up turning him into Funimation because he was selling Blu-rays of Trigun.
Yeah.
I don't know if the store's still up,
There's no telling.
but he ended up blocking me on eBay.
Right.
Yeah,
I think you lost some friends for that fight too, didn't you?
I did. I did lose some friends for that fight
Because
too.
that was because they wanted to support it, but
Yeah, they wanted us, to support it and stuff, and
which I also don't get that either. Whenever you say, "Oh well, I want to support this, but I'll buy it later," well, you
yeah,
already shelled out money for it. You already gave money to somebody else. Even if you're giving money to the right people at some point of it, you still gave the money to the wrong people at different times.
yeah,
And I'll always remember this one thing that I saw when somebody brought it up. They go, they're not legit.
yeah.
It's not a legit company doing it. They're doing that for reasons. But the other thing is you might think, oh well, they're not legit, but they're going to use it for something good.
I
How
mean,
can you say a company doing something bad
a
already is
lot
going to
of
turn
a
around
lot of those piracy
and use it
places,
for something good?
a lot of people that like pirate anime and stuff, that's a lot of like yakuza stuff and organized crime.
Yeah,
It's not fans; it's people wanting to make a fucking quick buck on
right.
fanboys.
Sending drugs around.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna pirate, you're gonna pirate. I don't want to.
You
I just
should
want to.
know. You
You
should
shouldn't.
know.
You shouldn't. You should not pirate whatsoever. I mean, I did for a long time. For all through college, I pirated shit out of stuff. You know, and you know, I saw the collapse of like anime companies just collapse because of from piracy or whatever. Like ADV went under, Geneon went under, Bandai of America went under. All within like a year of each other.
Right.
A year.
Right.
That's something, you know. And luckily, like ADV was able to come back as Sentai. Geneon has never come back. They're just gone,
Right.
Bandai kind of came back through licensing stuff, but they don't have their own company anymore.
Right.
But they also make some kind of bad business decisions a little bit,
Right.
But like support with your dollars if you're able to
Right.
support.
And I'll give it to you if you're unaware of things that you're doing, if you don't view them as wrong or whatever, and you listen
Yeah,
to the podcast or you listen to anything else that we've talked about this before on and you find it out in the wild or anything else like that, and you hear whatever, just know that we just told you about that. So now would be the time for you to make the best choice to change because even though you didn't know before, you know now.
Yeah, true.
So
Yeah, yeah, but I'll post those Blu-rays on the Instagram that we got.
yeah. So
Anyways,
anyway,
guys,
guys,
go
thanks
ahead.
for listening. Mike, plug our podcast.
You can find us at all major podcast platforms under Otakuology. You can email us, send us a question or concern you have for the podcast. We'll read it on the podcast at otakuologypodcast@gmail.com. Or if you want to shoot us some future topics to cover or a manga or anime you want us to talk about, let us know. You can find us on Instagram at Otakuology Podcast. We have a TikTok that doesn't really get used. We have a YouTube channel called Otakuology Podcast. You can find me at Otaku Mike on YouTube. Jen is at Jen Graves on YouTube or on Instagram. And we have a store. Link will be down below. Share the podcast. Share it with your friends. Listen, that's the best way to support us. And I hope people were somewhat informed, and I hope we
Yeah,
didn't
I'll
make anybody angry.
send us questions.
Yeah,
Always be woke. Make sure that you know what's going on.
yeah.
Everything else. But as always, guys, we'll
Wait.
see you
Remember, if you support piracy, you support terrorism.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But as always, guys, see you next Tuesday.
Don't support the pirates.